You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Well, hello, everybody. It seems like we've got a little bit of catching up to do. What have you been up to the last few days, or, since August? I looked at the calendar, and it all seems like a blur, but it is Monday at 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, and you're with us, so I guess it's time to fire things up again and do Mission Log Live. I'm John Champion.
And I'm Norman Lau, and you have landed right back where you belong on the live show where we kick back and talk Trek and whatever else is on your mind since August of 2023. It's been a while, just like I said, so click on the Zoom link or give us a call at 669-900-6833 because we want to catch up with all of yous. That's for my New Jersey peeps out there. All of yous.
Nicely done, Norman. That was very convincing. Now, a lot has happened in the last half a year. You may recall that we had to pull the plug on many of our shows during the SAG and WGA strikes. And once those settled and we got back into the podcast groove, well, we looked around and there was a distinct lack of new Star Trek on the air. Strange New Worlds was in the middle of its season and Lower Decks came and went before we could chime in.
Yeah, but now we're back and you're back and Star Trek is on its way back. So tonight we are looking back at the fourth season of Lower Decks. And we are eagerly anticipating the return of the show for its fifth season. Our special guest tonight is producer Brad Winters of Lower Decks, and he's here to hopefully answer your questions and spoil everything about season 5. Why not, right? So, probably not. But Earl's here, holding down the fort in the Earl Green Room as he usually does. So give him a call, visit him, say hi, catch up with Earl, get into the Green Room. Again, just click on the Zoom link or give us a call at 669-900-6833.
All right, so you heard it. Now is the time. You got to click the thing or you got to dial the thing. You got to say hi to Earl, and then you say hi to us and our special guest, Brad Winters. But before we do that, a little bit of business to take care of. Now, Norman, I'm going to apologize to you and our audience that I am just unable to defeat the complicated computer gods that have tried to prevent me from logging into our own chat system.
Oh,
so,
no.
Yeah, I know. You'd think I would be prepared. That's the thing that allows me to see everything, allows me to see, Facebook and YouTube and everywhere that we're broadcasting tonight, but it's not happening. So I'm going to launch Facebook, but I think you're already there and you can see who's in the chat.
I can. And hopefully I actually have seen some messages. Hopefully my mic is not as hot anymore. Thanks, James Kerwin. Let's see. More hot than Norman's mic is hot.
Wow. Are we already getting critique from people like Kerwin?
I think so. It's either a critique or he's hitting on me. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But then again, the night's early. So we're going to say hello to Paul. Paul right in the Paul position. Not the pole position. The Paul position. Good. We have Heather here. We have Scott Palm here. We have Michael. Thank you, Michael, for letting me know that my mic's hot. Hopefully that has worked out. We have Jane here. Let's see. What else? So many people. We have now. It's not Alan, John.
No, it's the fierce and indomitable Alan. That's the Alan that we want. Yeah.
Of the Allen peoples. Of his
Allen
peoples.
Yeah.
Of the Allens.
People called Alan. Yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So we have Chris Riker, friend of the show. A lot of friends of the show here that we haven't seen in quite some time, like since August. Nice. Right. Let's see who else there. Oh, there's Paul Harvith. Hello, Paul. No ability to call in, so I'm on the chat tonight. When you better chat away. We're expecting a lot of heavy lifting from you. Let's see who else there.
Oh, wait, Chris Riker throwing shade. It's not your mic. Your shirt is too loud. Wait. Yeah. Okay. That was Chris Riker. Okay.
That's a complaint. Right. I think that's a compliment.
I think he's also hitting on you. So lucky you. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Kerwin says hitting definitely. So yeah, we have clarification on that.
Yep. Great. Michael says it's good. Glad to be here for the live show. Well, we're glad to be here for the live show. So
we are.
Now is your chance to call in, to chime in. I'm going to try to get my chat system back online so I can interact a little more vividly than just trying to catch up here. So good to see everybody. Before we welcome Brad, just really quickly, we want to remind everybody what's going on in Roddenberry podcasts and what is coming up. So Norman, really the long and short of it, we've got it right there where people should go to catch up with us.
That's right. You can go to podcast.roddenberry.com and make sure that you like and subscribe to all of the videos and all of the channels that we have there at youtube.com/Roddenberry Entertainment, like the video you're watching right now, or will be watching when it's on youtube.com/Roddenberry Entertainment. But I would like to say, since August, we have done something special for the network.
Yes, you have.
So you've heard my voice, and you've also heard Earl's voice on a new show called Mission Log Genealogy, where we are looking at every single one of Gene Roddenberry's scripts that exist or that we have been able to find and archive. And we are going through those, looking for the threads that are leading and weaving our way into what will eventually become his most famous work. And that would be Have Gun Will Travel. No, Lieutenant. No, Star Trek. That's it. Star Trek.
Show. Yes, that show.
Yeah, that show.
Honestly, I'm so glad. If people are hearing this tonight and you have not checked out Genealogy, please do, because it is such a quality show. You and Earl have been knocking it out of the park with that. And it is really a lesson in TV history, and it does lay the groundwork for everything that you already know fits in the Gene Roddenberry ethos of storytelling. So please check out Genealogy, download it, share it with your friends, leave them a review, 5-star, of course. So check out Genealogy along with all of our other shows at podcast.roddenberry.com. Now, coming up on the live show next week, next Monday, we'll have a look at the state of the Trek with perennial guest Dr. Trek Larry Nemechek. We'll reflect on the last year. We'll get into what's coming up for 2024 and have a look beyond with some educated guesses and wild, unfounded speculation. So make sure you're here for that. Then on April 8th, week after the next Monday, we will begin our weekly look at Star Trek Discovery Season 5. Yes, we are saying goodbye to the end of Discovery as it ends its run. But we are saying hello again to returning guest host Holly Amos.
Yay!
So please join us. Yes. So we're very happy. And Norman, you and I will be doing our usual 1 week on, 1 week off. So Holly really kind of anchors the show, and we'll be in. And of course, we'll hear from all of you as you chime in your take on this final season of Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. You know,
it will be. Yeah,
this is the first of this entire new generation of Star Treks that we're saying goodbye to.
Yeah,
we want them to last longer.
Yeah, for real. But hey, you know what? Speaking of shows that are going into their 5th season, how you like that?
Speaking of lasting longer,
yeah. We hope. We absolutely hope. Let us kind of look back a little bit and celebrate where we've come, seasons 1 through 4. We didn't get to do season 4 of Lower Decks because of the strike, but we are certainly happy to look back on it now with all of you, our callers. I know we got a few people waiting right away, but let's say hi to our guest. You've seen him before on Mission Log Live. We are thrilled to have him back. He is producer Brad Winters. Brad, welcome back to the show.
Good to be back. Thank you for having me.
Hey,
this is the only thing I've ever done, so this is the only place anyone's ever seen me.
Well, now we just found our co-host when we start doing Lower Decks.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And by that definition, we are therefore the best Star Trek podcast you've ever done.
Yes,
that's right.
That's it. Yeah, shout it far and wide.
It's my number one go-to for podcasts.
Yes, there you go.
I most listened to.
Yes, exactly. So listen, it's been a while since we had you here, and since then, of course, we had to shut down for a little bit. But in the animation world,
happen?
It was a blip, just a little bump in the road, shall we say? Yeah. But tell us what happened on your end, because animation is kind of governed by some different rules. So where did that hit you? Impact or not impact what you were working on?
It is true that the animation is governed by a different set. The agreement is a little different. So technically, we could have been recording. We were a couple episodes into recording season 5. And while we could have continued recording both with the cast and the production, and I will also say with CBS, they kind of understood that it was putting the actors in a very weird position to be protesting outside of CBS for other projects they work on, and then coming in to work on this project while they technically could have. But,
Right.
we didn't need them to record immediately. Sorry, Mike McMahon is calling me. I'm going to remind him that I'm doing.
Could you please tell him that the show that Rod Roddenberry produces has you on as a guest
I'll let him
right
know.
now?
Let's see if he's texting me going like, no, don't.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that could be it.
Are you on yet?
Yeah.
I did have to text him and ask. I'm like, what have we said about where we ended season 4 and what sometimes Mike teases future seasons? I'm like, what exactly have you said? So he was reminding me of that. But
okay. All right.
But no, we decided, hey, we don't need to record immediately. Did not plan on the strike lasting as long as it did.
Yeah.
But things were getting a little hairy there. I'm like, I don't want to have to ask people to come back, but it all resolved itself. It all worked out. And I'm very glad the actors got a new deal. I'm glad that the animation portion of the deal was just ratified. So there's a new animation deal for the actors as well.
Good.
I think it had like a 98% approval just last week. So literally last thing I did today was going through with our line producer and figuring out the back pay on the new rates. So we've been holding money aside to retroactively pay people their new rates. And so I'm very happy to cut those checks.
That's the glamorous part of production right there. Yeah. Yes. Nice. Well, good. I mean, we're certainly, we were watching the show at the time and paying attention and waiting for the strike, for everything to settle and everything get back into production. But during that time, though, of course, Lower Decks got renewed for, or at least it was announced that Star Trek was coming back for a 5th season, and you guys were already working on it. It's fantastic, so fans are very happy. We don't have it, and believe me, I will not hold you to it because I know that there are things we definitely cannot say, but we don't really have a date yet, or at least kind of somewhere on the calendar.
Above my pay grade.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Perfectly said. Yeah.
I heard in France it was already released. So,
yes.
Right.
It's been out in France for weeks.
Yeah.
And if anyone tells you that,
don't watch. Right.
Don't bring it up.
Exactly.
That was an interesting weekend. I think we can say we're pretty much all caught up on records for season 5. Everything's kind of off being animated. We've just started to get some animation back. So we've seen the first 2 episodes. It's been fun. I think people will like it.
I think they will too. I think they've liked 1 through 4 so far. How could they not like 5? And you left us at the end of 4 with a really intriguing cliffhanger with one of our crew members going away. So
what's going on with Livick? Are him and Rutherford going to be hanging out more? That was my big takeaway from the end of the season.
that was what you cared about. Yeah.
So is twaining now in the lexicon of Star Trek?
I have to say the funniest thing, it made my heart grow like the Grinch, like several sizes. But when Tawny sent the picture from the cruise,
yes,
like spontaneous, maybe like 5 or 7 people, not just twaining, but also doing the Spider-Man meme.
It was so good.
That made me very happy.
Yeah.
Do we specifically give credit to twaining to Mike or somebody else on the staff, or you? I mean, I want to make sure we know.
I don't know who I'm going to assume Mike, but it wasn't in the room. So
okay, fair
That's
enough.
what was on the text. Do not explain twaining. Keep it mysterious.
I will say that in the recording, the twaining, I think we recorded Jack first. So he kind of established the level of accent we'd be doing.
Right.
And then we did Eugene and discovered that just for every line to do to do a foghorn leghorn on ramp into each line. And then by the time we had brought Dawn in to do her portion of it, Dawn was like, what are we doing? I was like, no, make it. So what the characters experienced with Captain Freeman in the episode is me in the booth with Dawn explaining like, no, it'll be very funny. Like, cause she's like, says Southern accent, but you're asking me to do something that is not a Southern accent. I'm like, no. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
But wait, first of all, this is fascinating, and second of all, I think very important because as a bit of a Mark Twain fan myself,
Yeah,
for
he
real.
didn't sound like that.
No, but here's the thing: I wanted to know if there was a recording of Mark Twain that existed in the world because he lived at the same time that recorded media was starting, and there is not a recording of Mark Twain's voice. However, there was a very well-known actor at the time who apparently grew up as a kid. He knew Mark Twain. So he was a kid. Mark Twain was already an adult. Mark Twain, world famous. He was, giving speeches around the world. And this kid who then grew up to be an actor studied Mark Twain. And at some point later in his career, did a recording of him imitating as closely, as accurately as he could what Mark Twain sounded like. And I thought that's cool. But what you're describing,
it's such a funny setup though, what you're describing too. Like I want to see the SNL sketch where Mark Twain is getting to hear these recordings and we hear the real Mark Twain and then the recording, he's like, that's what I...
Right.
You think I sound like that?
Yeah, and of course we all sound terrible in our recorded voices, But he, so he did that, and now what I'm picturing is what we have now is when somebody does an imitation of a famous figure, and then the imitation becomes more famous than the actual person. It's sort of like Dana Carvey doing George Bush, and that's what you're describing now. Is you are several generations removed from this fake Mark Twain. And I kind of love that.
There's the in-universe explanation. Somebody then...
Yeah.
So someone took Val Kilmer's one-man show that he did. Look it up.
Yes.
Someone took that Val Kilmer show and took a bootleg recording that survived World War III. It somehow got, digitized in. And then there's just been bad holodeck, facsimiles of that. And Boimler learned that in school. Boimler had to learn Huckleberry Finn.
Can we please go one deeper? And I want you to make this canon that the recording that survived was not Val Kilmer. It was Dana Gould as Dr. Zaius,
right.
as Hal Holbrook in Mark Twain Tonight. That's the core voice.
Get it on Memory Alpha. Let's go.
Let's do it. All right. So let us kick things over to our first caller of the evening. We've got a few people waiting. We lost somebody, and I hope they come back because they would be new.
Twain fan.
I know, right?
Yeah. How dare you? or disgrace his voice.
We answered their question.
Yeah, and that was it. And we were done. Yeah. Chris, welcome to the show. It's been a long time.
Hey, good to see you all. Good to meet you, Brad. Yeah, it's been a while since we've been here in the squares. It's been fun. Yes, like you guys, I also have a bit of a special guest, and I think Brad will appreciate this.
Oh, is it?
An off-brand Moopsie.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. That's a good guy.
No, it's a crocheted.
It's a crocheted Moopsie. Okay, I like it.
It's crocheted. He is incredibly soft. It's so nice. But yeah, so I have a Moopsie.
I can support a crocheted Moopsie. I cannot support dropship not officially licensed Moopsies. Now that the real one's coming.
Right. Well, if you know our Chris has I don't know how many cosplays. You have your Miggly Moo crochet. You have the Cetacean Ops crochet.
Yes.
Are you crocheted Miggly Moo?
That's him.
I am. That is me.
Were you on the cruise last year?
I was. Yeah.
I met you.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's too funny. Yes, that's me.
Did you also do a Matt the Whale?
Yes, that was me in Vegas a couple of years ago. Yeah.
I missed it in Vegas, but I saw you on the show. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
guys,
that's what we do here is two legends connecting with each other.
That's right.
Put that on your mom on the cruise?
She was. Yeah, she's the one who made.
Okay, your mom's great too. All right.
Yeah, she's probably
in the business. We call that crochet cred. That's what we call it in the business.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. No, she's my handler when I'm wearing all of the stuff.
Brought me over.
Kind of see out of the whale. Yeah, the whale is pretty brutal. It's hard to see, and it was very hot in the whale.
I was sitting with Dr. Aaron McDonald, science advisor. I was sitting with her husband. We're like, we'll sit here so we can watch the people lining up for the costume contest, so we can see everything. I don't want to just see what the judges decided were like the cream of the crop. I want everything.
Yeah.
And your mom was dressed up as something, and we were complimenting her.
Maybe she might have just had a T-shirt on, like a Ritos T-shirt or
Yeah.
something.
Mm.
We were talking, but she's like, "Oh no, you got to come over." And I absolutely, I'm a big fan.
Well, awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah. But yeah, so cool to meet you. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the show. My first question, one of my favorite running gags is the koala, and so my sort of two-part question was: one, was that always intended as a running gag when it first got pitched? And two, why koala? Where did koala come from?
I don't know where it came from, and I don't think there might be. Mike's going to be so mad with me. I think there might be some crossover with.
It's okay. He'll text you.
Yeah. I know the Black Mountain is a thing. He's like seeded it through his greater works. But I don't think, and don't quote me on this, I think the koala, it showed up because that's a thing. And then I do know that Robbie Cook drew the koala. And then when you saw the koala, then it's like, oh, that's a great drawing. And then it slowly became snuck in more and more. And then in season 2, I believe, when they came up with the new Trek IDs for each show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's in the Chiron. Yeah.
That's when it became the like, oh, we can have some real fun here and do something so stupid, but so fun. And then it's just kind of gone from there. My favorite cameo of the koala is in Crisis Point 2 when they're on Tatashore 9. Whatever the planet is in the holodeck program with all the zealots, there is somebody with little koala, like they have little koala action figures, and we had someone in the background, yelling about the koala. I love the koala. The koala's great.
Oh no, the koala's great. I mean, I'm personally convinced the koala's going to be like the big bad of season 5 or season 6. Like that, we're just slowly building there, and eventually we're going to have to fight.
We can't put moral judgments on the koala. The koala's not good. The koala's like Galactus. It's just a universal constant. You have to have the koala.
It would be neat if the koala then snapped and then something disappeared, right? Koala Thanos snap.
Of course, Earl chiming in here in the chat with, that's the true mark of koality right there.
That's why Earl is Earl.
That is
fun.
Yeah.
Chris, what you're mentioning is sort of always my question with Lower Decks, because there seem to be moments of such inspiration that kind of carry you from not only episode to episode, the little threads, the little hints that keep it together, but then season to season, the things that are really built up with long arcs. And I'm so happy that I'm somebody who started watching in season 1 and just thinking like, okay, so you're frenetic. There are a lot of references, but what are the characters doing? Who are you supposed to get behind here? And Mariner has had such depth and such growth over 4 seasons. Brad, from your point of view, going back to the beginning and where we are now, and hopefully in the middle of a long run for Lower Decks, are these things that you feel like are kind of known and set in stone early and you're working toward, or do you kind of get to sit back a minute and see what's firing, what's really connecting, and say, oh, you know what, that's actually a thread that we need to follow, or that's a character we need to develop more?
It's totally a Mike question.
Okay.
I will say, just in general with television, I've found, for the most part, you discover it as you go. Even if you had plans, you don't know what the actor is going to bring to it, what you'll learn as you're writing the character. I'm a big disbeliever if someone says they had it all planned the whole time.
Yeah.
That if you hear a TV show say the lostification of how people consume media, like, you don't want a slavish devotion to a plot line that you started with, because what if you cast an actor and that actor just really, you need them in season 4 to be huge and it's just not working? Do you slavishly follow like what you had planned in your series Bible, or do you make adjustments, or do you find something new? Like, there's, have an idea, have some plans. I think it all comes down to Mike super knows these characters and can tell you, would Mariner do this? Would Rutherford do that? And if you know what the characters, who they are, you can kind of write any story, and you don't have to have this grand plan because it's always going to feel true. Like, he's got ideas in his head for the characters, and stuff reveals itself slowly over the season. I don't know if, for instance, day one when Mike was starting the show, it's like, oh, she knew Cito.
Yeah.
Maybe he had thought that, but like, these things sort of percolate and happen.
Right.
Okay. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I actually wrote a very specific question. I rarely go to my notes with this, but it's because you brought that up. So here's the whole thing. So Cito Jaxo, right? Ever since the first duty, and then
the Cito, but I respect the Bajoran naming convention.
I'm just a barbaric human. I'm just a barbaric human. What do I know? I'm just behind. I'm a monkey behind a microphone.
I clap like this.
Right? I can feel your paw from here. I really can. So you have the first duty, you have Lower Decks, which are hugely referenced in the last 2 episodes, right? But Lower Decks is kind of like where she made the ultimate sacrifice, also brought up by Mariner, and that crushed Mariner's spirit. We all know this, and if you don't know this, I'm sorry.
Massive.
What we're talking about, right? Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, so you have Lower Decks, and it's named Lower Decks. I'm not sure if it's serendipitously or purposefully from that episode.
Very purposely. Yeah.
So am I going to say this? Was Jaxa Cito originally planned to be a part of the animation storyline at some time?
I think maybe Mike always had like a little kernel of it, but we had been told for a very long time, you can't find her. She's unavailable. She doesn't want to do anything. If we were wanting to bring Cito back, that Shannon was not interested and unavailed. Like, you're not going to get her. And, when it first got floated out there, it's like, we can always mention her, but we'd love to be able to like see her and have the moment we have at the beginning of 10. And I'll give credit to our casting directors. They found her. It took a very long time. She hung up on a lot of phone calls that she thought were jokes. And,
oh, wow.
I had a very nice, in this room, I had a very long conversation with her. I'm like, please don't hang up. It's real. I'm like, can I just send you a script? And we sent her, even though we were wanting her for 10, we sent her 9. So it was like, I want you to see what Mariner says about your character to know why. And then I think I just sent her the little beginning of 10. It's like, here's what we want you to do, but here's why we want you to do it. And she wrote the most beautiful letter back. Shannon is like my absolute hero. The shame of the strike to me is that there wasn't a billion interviews with Shannon. I adore Shannon. She was the best. We had such a great time recording her. I'm trying to convince her she needs to go to conventions, to cruises, that you guys want to see her, that you guys would like to talk to her.
Yes.
But she is doing some incredible work in her field. Like, she's doing some really, really great stuff. And I'm like, get out there to the convention so you can let the people know what you're up to. Because it's really great. It's not TV shows, it's not Hollywood, but it's like changing lives, and very like, it makes you feel like, oh, what am I doing? Like, she's an incredible person. Looks exactly the same too.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic.
So for the live action shows, if you want to undo everything we did and bring her back.
By the way, just looking in the chat here, a couple of things to point out from our earlier conversation about Mark Twain. Chris Riker points out, I think, a really inspired idea. Why not a bootleg copy of Time's Arrow, but with all the Star Trek parts missing? I think that's a really good idea. We should get on that. Somebody should. Paul.
Mike is he is watching because he's making
of course.
9.
Of course. Hi, Mike.
Jeez. Now I gotta. Oh my God.
Is he making fun of the big Deep Space Nine? Or I'm such a nerd. I also bought the little one first.
Yes.
Nice. Chris, just so you are not left out of it here with all of your many accomplishments, Paul Wright points out that you're also the brown sugar bourbon master. So didn't want to lose out on that. You certainly are.
Yeah,
so
I've got my stash. It's right back here behind me. You can't see it, but it is right here. No, yeah.
Excellent.
We are
Chris,
a pro bourbon production.
Uh-huh.
We
Oh
are.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, I'm going to ask you if you've got any final thoughts or questions here for our guests, and we'll take a little break to do some business.
Yeah, not so much a question, but just something that I appreciate about Lower Decks is, I think I've said it on the live show before, and definitely like in the Discord, is this idea that sitcoms are often faced with, you want to change the characters to make them grow, but you can't change them too much because then the premise of the sitcom doesn't work anymore. And a lot of times sitcoms just kind of like cheat you and they like try and trick you into thinking that they've changed, but they really haven't. And Lower Decks does a really good job, especially this season when they all get promoted, is that they actually all do go through evolution. Mariner breaks out of her cycle of self-sabotage. They all sort of, reckon with it, whatever it is they need to deal with. But the comedy still works. Like, they're still, like, in ethos Lower Decks. They're still, so it's good job, team, for pulling that off, which is not always easy to do.
Oh, thank you. No, it is the illusion of a sitcom. A sitcom is all about the illusion of change, because if everybody at Cheers sobered up, it would have been a short run. If they all realized they had problems, that's like episode 3.
Well said, Chris. Thanks so much for joining us. Good to see you again. We'll see you again in the future.
Of course. See you guys around. Bye.
All right.
See you, Chris.
Take care, my friend.
See you, buddy.
I can't wait to see what he crochets next.
Right? Exactly.
I hope it's like Super Hulk Miggly Moo with dander, with dander fluffing action.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, dander fluffing action. That's
for sure.
I think what we have in season 5.
Oh, all right.
Hey, well, somebody said the magic word, and that was bourbon. And I do want to remind people, as we talk about a little business here on the show, that we are still very much tied to Star Trek wines and spirits. And stay tuned, because we will have a special event coming up very soon, within the next couple of weeks or so. We haven't locked down the date precisely, but we will let you know, and you don't want to miss it. It's kind of a new thing for us with them, but doing a live stream special event. For those of you particularly who are part of the Captain's Table, you will not want to miss it. For those of you who are interested in the Captain's Table line, you do not want to miss it. So stick in touch with us. We will let you know. And speaking of staying in touch with us, Norman, I think that it is about time in the show that we said thank you to everybody who is a supporter on Patreon. I was just doing the list today of everything that happens live in Patreon, our live chats every week, and I counted no fewer than 6, and those are just the regularly recurring. So why don't you tell people what they can find if they join us at Patreon, and then get that key to go into our Discord.
Well, the lovely thing about our Discord is, we have all these live shows, and we do them live, and we do them with some of the hosts here at Mission Log and some of the members of Patreon in our Discord community who have been coming up with these great ideas to stay interactive. Our original goal, John, when we started Discord, was just to have a community of people that could come together in these mini type conventions using the technology that everyone was using during the lockdown of COVID 2020. And now it's grown into something just incredibly special. We have a Babylon 5 live chat called the Zocalo, hosted by myself and Charlene Schmidt. Have been growing this wonderful new community of new fans who have never seen the show before. And we've just finished season 3 and we're going into season 4. And the big question is, whatever happened to Mr. Garibaldi?
By the way, I think Brad just perked up when you said
I saw that.
Yeah.
I mean, I am such a Babylon 5 guy. With no idea what is a Zocalo. I know what happened to Mr. Garibaldi.
Yes, sir.
Don't get me started. Love it.
All right. Well,
that's
we'll
happening every Friday at noon.
every Friday. So we also have starting up the Disco Discord with our very own Heather. We're going to be going through our recaps of seasons as we march closer towards the release of season 5.
Yep.
So,
yeah,
did I say that right, Heather? in chat? Did I get that right?
She'll jump in.
Yeah. We also have an international chat time. It's called Now Voyager for international fans who usually don't get a chance to see us at After Dark because it's a little too late or too early, depending on where they are. We also have Twilight Zone. I put those two together because that's Matt Kamagis's, his bailiwick, where he talks about Twilight Zone.
Hosting from Tokyo.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he is our international man of podcast mystery. We also have our live show Wednesday night called Kontiki, where it's an open forum to talk about whatever you want to talk about. And that's hosted by many members of our community, Paul Harveth, Heather. They talk about everything.
Yeah. Meetups, in person, cruises, conventions. And just hanging out and having a drink on a Wednesday night.
And then there's After Dark, which is where our main show that is dropped every Thursday is discussed at length, and including the VAM, which is the value added material, which is on our uncut show, which we drop for our Patreon subscribers specially. It's the only way you can get it. And I have a few hot takes that I usually share on the value added material. So I'm not exactly sure how much value it's bringing to the show, but it's definitely added material.
It's definitely amusing to me. So don't you ever stop doing that, Norman. So everybody who wants to join us there, patreon.com/missionlog. And look, if all you want to do is to subscribe to the shows, remember podcast.roddenberry.com. But if you want to hang out with us and get a little deeper into the community, patreon.com/missionlog. That will be your key to join us on Discord. We'll see you there, and probably we'll see Brad at the Zocalo on any given Friday. So
bring me back for the Babylon 5 thing. I've got
we will.
takes.
Yeah. Well, that's we'll set you up. We'll get you.
New Kosh versus old Kosh, which is better?
Heyo.
They're all Kosh.
We'll get you there.
Well, thank you, everybody, for letting us interrupt your program with that. Remember, patreon.com/missionlog. Let's get back to the show. Joining us is Alan, the indomitable, from the feared and indomitable Allens. I'm glad you found your people.
Oh, it was so eye-opening when I saw that. I was like, finally. Yeah. Finally, it makes sense.
You knew it in your heart all along.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Proto-Persian warriors,
Wait, weren't the Proto-Persians the one that tried to kill the Picard because they thought he was a god?
That was the Proto-Romulans.
They were Proto-Romulans.
Or
Okay.
Proto-Vulcans.
Proto-Vulcans.
No.
All right.
That was Laura Palmer's dad.
Yeah.
It was Ray Wise.
Yeah.
And Catherine Lee Scott. Yeah. Uh-huh. Alan, what is on your mind tonight?
Well, first off,
favorite Babylon 5 episode.
Oh, yeah. I just want to echo the love for the Patreon, for the Discord community. It is such a wonderful place. Norman, we have been debating how much Dune there is in Star Trek, and it's been civil.
Wow. Well, good job.
How dare you call it civil? It's been downright a firestorm.
Oh my God! Yes.
Of complementary ideas and thoughts and sharing. So yes, Alan, that's been great, and that's what we do.
Exactly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just first of all, Brad, thanks for being on. Congratulations on Lower Decks. I think I've said this before on the show, but Lower Decks is the thing that got me to sign up for Paramount Plus back when it was still CBS.
Hey,
so. I am ride or die with this show. So it's been a great journey so far. I loved everything that sort of developed in this season. Particularly, not only did like the characters' roles get bigger, but it felt like the whole world of the show got bigger because we went kind of by necessity of the plot, but we went to Ferenginar. We went to Orion for the first time. It was really, really awesome to see all these new places. And I was just wondering, first of all, what were sort of like the challenges of sort of developing all of these ideas for these different cultures and different worlds? And do you have a personal favorite?
Between the two you mentioned,
or any of them, that we encountered. There were, I think we saw a Binar ship for the first time. All of that stuff.
The Binars. It's so much. No, I'm not going to say. I'll wait until like it's the 50th year to talk about the Binars. There's some fun with them. Who are the Binars? I know. Because it's not an effect. It's voices. World.
Interesting.
I really like. I'm gonna blank on their names. the belly button people. It's only are they Dilmarians? No, it's something Delanians.
Is
I
that
think the volcano, the people who worship a volcano, but also a telepathic.
Oh yes.
Oh,
Come on, Chad. Don't let us down. Don't let Brad down.
With the
Come on.
with the space
402.
elevator.
Lift. It's an orbital lift.
Okay.
Okay. I really like those guys because you only see a little bit of them, but I think in the little bit that we show, you get their whole thing. I wish we had gone to a planet of them, but my favorite alien, so I'm cheating, is Narj from 402, the menagerie owner.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Like a plant person. I need a lot more Narj people. I want to know more about the Narj, like what they are.
Would that make you a narcissist?
Yes.
You can't hit me from here, John. You can't hit me from here.
It's funny. I have to, because from my perspective, we're looking, at 5'10". So it's like some of these episodes are 20 episodes ago, 19 episodes ago. I'm trying to
Fair enough.
what's that? While also not spoiling things from.
Right.
I will say the production crew hated me when I pointed out it needed to be raining on Fringanar.
Oh man. Yep.
The design team did not like me. And Mike's brought it up a couple times, but I am the one who insisted there be naked Ferengi women. I think on a commentary he says I militantly demanded it. I would like to say for the record, I thought that we should include them in the background to show that Rom's reforms are being slow. There's still some traditional Ferengis out there.
It seems unfair to categorize you that way. It just seems. I want to ask you a really quick
CBS
technical.
Legal had to reach out because they're like, you have been defamed in the commentary, and I had to say, no, I did. It is true what he is saying.
You got to point that
culture. It's their culture, and representation matters.
Yeah.
Point that cannon right back at him. Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
I want to ask you a quick technical question. You talk about the rain on Ferenginar. Since I don't know how animation works, in the deep, but in the deep technical sense, but we have, especially with Lower Decks, this really nice combination of 2D and 3D, but of course you're using computers to make it all happen. Is not a rain effect something that can just sort of be programmed and you copy and paste it? Or I realize I'm oversimplifying, so I'm wondering where you hit the wall with it.
It's the angle the rain is coming from. Are you seeing the droplets hitting people? If you go back and watch the episode, we get them inside real quick.
Yeah.
Just put it into Rain GPT. It takes care of itself.
I'd say, the only real CG that happens on the show is some of the ship models, are they're CG in some shots, but other shots, it's a painting. It's our team has become really great at using CG as an asset, but for the most part, we are a 2D traditionally animated show, digital 2D.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, I mean, the Cerritos tugboating that the Orion battlecruiser at the end, I mean, there was some uncanny valley stuff going on there. It's sliding closer towards, was that an actual CGI animated effect, or was it just a really high-end animated effect? Because the lighting, the texture, everything, the fluidity of motion was unbelievable.
It's a lot of stuff. The answer is yes. It's CG models that are then going back over and having stuff in composition happen on top of it. You guys have to have Barry Kelly on. I've tried to get him. Barry or Nolan to be the people that they could really, if you want to talk about that shot in particular, Barry can give you we spent a lot of time on that. There was a lot of
that shot was amazing. Yeah. Just flat out amazing. Yeah.
By the way, people chiming in the chat here, Dave Takechi pointing out there should be 178 types of rain in that episode, actually, on Ferenginar. Thank you, David. And then let's see here. Paul Harvith saying the ships are fantastic because they are. Dave Taylor, thank you, Brad, for insisting on these things. If we had gotten a non-rainy Ferenginar, the complaints would have been nonstop. And you're right, because Star Trek fans know their Trek. So
they have zero opinions, and that's why I love them.
Oh, yeah.
They're passing a group.
So easy to navigate that fandom. Yeah.
Very, very easygoing.
A little behind the scenes, we recorded Max literally the day before the cruise because he's based in Europe, and we were having trouble trying to line up a recording studio. And then I realized, hey, the cruise leaves from LA.
Right.
He's got to be here.
Yeah.
So we recorded him. It was great. And then I went on the cruise last year, but we didn't want to spoil anything. So Max and I had a little joke I'm like, you don't know me.
Yeah.
We're on a boat of 5,000, whatever, like anywhere else in public, who would care?
Yeah.
We're on the one place on earth where someone would be like, why would they be talking? Oh, it must be in the season. So that whole week, anytime I saw him, Max would be like, nice to meet you. But he was like, Armin got to say hi to you. And Anad did. I'm like, because they were in the people know.
Right.
And like Jeffrey Combs had come by. I'm like, no, they're all fine. Right. They can talk to me in public. You can't.
You're the worst kept secret on the cruise.
I love it.
Right.
By the way, adore Max, the nicest man.
Yes, he is. Alan, any other thoughts, questions, comments tonight?
Oh, just that, I mean, just all of this talk about, the effects and the animation and everything. I mean, it really sort of highlights what makes Lower Decks great, is because you can do all of this stuff that might be cost prohibitive on even like a regular show.
It's pretty expensive.
I'm waiting for a vegetable person on Disco or Strange New Worlds. We'll see if that happens.
Our makeup budget is way cheaper.
Exactly.
But I will say it's because we have an incredible team both in LA and in Vancouver, and then we've got some 3D partners in Nepal, I believe, who do incredible work, and they're all as passionate about their roles on the show. It takes a village. I mean, it's a cliche, but they're bringing so much to it too. When we'll have launches about the process or about an episode where someone will throw out like, hey, what if, remember this thing? We could put this guy, I think in 409, there's like the Quapians. They're like the salamander people from 107, the bog planet. Way back in season one of the designers put a like battle scarred like mercenary one in the bar that they go to with Freeman and Shax and Rutherford. And it's like, that wasn't like, that's a cool, fun thing that somebody working on the show, I'm going to assume Robbie, it might've been Marisa, but somebody was like, ooh, we can take this background weirdo and put him in.
Nice.
I love the crew. Great crew.
Yeah.
Just building out the world, so it's all good.
In the chat here. Oh, sorry. Just one quick thing, Alan. In the chat, Sam says his favorite line from the Ferengi episode is, "Wow, it's like what heaven would look like if God was stupid."
A line that almost got cut.
Are you serious?
Oh no!
Wait, who almost cut it?
I won't reveal who, but why would Mariner be thinking about God? Like,
good, but Mariner's full of irony.
And also, we've got McCoy constantly going, dear God, Jim. Like,
yeah, exactly. Oh, that's interesting.
Blasphemy.
We might think too much about it
in the future. It's all good.
And also in the chat, Chris says that Brad and Alan are vying for the lead in the Brian Blessed story. So, Alan, before you leave us, you have to give us your best Gordon's Alive.
Gordon's Alive?
Okay, nice. Nicely done. Brad, you're not getting out of here without that, too.
But not the line to do from the movie.
What
The line is I would go with dive.
Okay, all right. Competition's heating up.
I'll take the tie.
Competition's heating up. Okay.
I appreciate the ownership of your scene, by the way.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Good job. All right. Take care, Alan. Great to see you. We'll see you again.
Catch you later, guys.
Earl over here in the chat says, why does Mariner need a god who needs a starship?
That's the question.
Yes.
Right? That is the question.
Rounding out our chat, and I think there's still a little bit of time if anybody else wants to squeeze in here at the very end, but we are happy to welcome back Cherie, well, all the way from the bridge of Cerritos, as you do. We figured you would be here.
I'd love to have you here.
She's from the holodeck.
That's true.
Oh, you're so right.
Just like we have an expert on the show here or something, John. I mean, come on. Right?
BC wants to know why we're flying blind on a rocket cycle. But, yeah. Cherie, what is on your mind tonight?
Well, I want to preface this with I realize that this was never meant to be thought about as much as I have thought about.
Oh, yeah?
Sure, though?
Yep. Challenge accepted.
The reason I started coming on Mission Luck, and I have an opportunity to ask you now. In the episode where Boimler is cloned, one Boimler,
duplicated.
Mm-hmm.
Duplicated. Okay.
Mm.
Where he's duplicated by the transporter, because you can't trust the transporter.
Yeah.
One of the Boimlers is beamed directly onto the ship. And the other Boimler is stuck down there and has to fight off Taclids and get onto a shuttle.
Correct.
Which one is the clone and which one is original Boimler?
Well, original Boimler is the one that goes, which had to fight off everything and get back to the shuttle, and which got beamed up right away?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if we really got into, because then we aren't continuously with them in the scene with Riker, so it doesn't. I don't know. Here's my right off the top of my head.
Ooh.
Mike might disagree with me, but if we really want to go with the TNG rules, the one that gets left behind and goes crazy, the one that's going to break bad, be different, or be not the one we love, is the one that stays behind. Yeah. So I would say the Boimler we see that's screaming is our Boimler we know and love, and the one that badass fought off everybody somehow and got back to the shuttle, that would be William. That's my logic to it.
I'm going to say that's the official answer since you're a producer. So
sure.
We're going to say that's the answer.
That's good.
Thank you.
That's
I like it.
There's the Kelvin timeline answer and the prime timeline. That can be the Kelvin. That's the memory beta.
Right.
Yeah. But I think the key words there were the badass Boimler. So there's badass Boimler, which is not our Brad word. It's the other Boimler.
I would say did a badass thing to get out, but maybe that badassery might lead him down different paths.
Cherie, how long have you been sitting on that question?
Since I asked you guys when I started coming on Mission Luck.
I could say since
the first question I asked.
September 2021.
Probably around then. Yeah.
Wow.
So we're still going to have you as a Discord and patron supporter, right? So, right?
Yeah, she's done.
No
this is it.
Okay, all right.
Worries.
Yeah, pack it up.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Bradward.
This is the pinnacle.
More nonsense questions.
That.
Yeah. What else is
Bradward named after you?
I will say, I am also from Modesto, California. My name is Brad. And maybe when Mike told me, hey, I want to name this character completely after you, I was like, well, let's see what happens with the show. That goes back way to the bench. Also, it's the Peter Parker. It's it's the alliterative superhero thing. Brad Boimler. I will say Brad worked. Mike might not remember this, because his full name didn't come up until 105 when Barb comes to visit. from the Vancouver, his Canadian girlfriend.
Right.
But she is calling him Bradward, and they're like, well, wait, what's your full name? Is it Bradley? And I was like, well, I'm a Bradley. I do know Bradfords. I've known a couple Bradfords in my life, but I did know one Bradward.
Are you serious? Wait, that's a name that exists in the wild?
Yes, and I tried to find him, and in trying to find him, found another Bradward. I'll give you one guess what state he lives in.
California.
No.
No?
I would
Indiana.
say,
Where would a Bradward organically just pop up? It was Florida.
Oh, God. Of
Oh,
course.
okay.
Of course. Wow.
But yeah,
Wow.
there are Bradwards out there, but I'm like,
Oh.
yeah.
It's just such a weird name.
I love it because it's unique. You know, it's fun. Yeah, but okay. So we can't give Cherie all of the answers tonight,
Okay.
right? We can give her some of the answers so she can call back later.
Yeah. There you go.
Bradward's alive?
Season 5 will create so many new questions for you when it comes out at some point.
Good.
Release date unknown.
Speaking
Tiffany,
of
go ahead.
future seasons, I was just wondering, is there like a cameo that you haven't had yet that you'd really love to have?
Ooh.
Well, I can't say that without spoiling. Then you'll know that they're not in. Like, I can't answer truthfully.
Okay, what?
I would have loved to have been able to do an Odo. That would have been
Yeah.
awesome. Not because of Deep
Obviously.
Space Nine. I just love Benson. It's my favorite sitcom. I'm kidding. I love Trek actors for their other roles. You know,
What do you mean, like Police Academy 5?
let's just say when I met Terry Farrell, the first thing I wanted to talk about was Hellraiser.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
Jeffrey Combs, first thing I wanted to talk about was
Reanimator.
No, Dr. Mordred.
What?
Oh, okay.
Oh my
Too
God.
much credit.
Okay.
Does that mean that if you'd ever been able to have Rene Auberginois, that you would have had him sing Les Poissons, Les Poissons?
Yeah.
No, it would have gone. Benson would have been number one, and then number two would have been the skeleton on top of the clock and the last unicorn. One of my favorite line reads of all time, where he's a skeleton that just wants to get drunk on fake wine. Great movie. Go back and watch it. Incredible
Nice.
performances.
This man has knowledge. I feel inferior. I must leave.
Yeah, this is good.
I mean, I'm good at trivia.
Yeah, very good. By the way, we kind of kicked off a whole thing about Bradward in the chat. Now, Tiffany says, unrelated, though, I love that there is a Vancouver as a Vancouverite. So, welcome. So, good to have you here. Now, other people they keep debating the Bradward thing, which is great. Oh, and before we get to that, actually, Sam says, shout out to Lynn as a non-emotional, wait a minute, oh, shoot, there we go.
Oh,
as
wow.
a non-emotional facing and yet non-condescending Vulcan character. Very good. Yeah.
I laugh.
Someone beamed up.
What? I don't even know how that happened.
That was incredible. Whatever happened.
That was very cool, Norman.
Yeah.
That was very cool.
They were trying
Only
to
on
beam
this
you
cut
up.
of the show.
It got blocked.
I think
Oh.
Talin is one of the most non-ironic, funniest characters I have ever seen, heard, performed.
Yeah.
Talin is so great because it wasn't until season 4 where it becomes if you add that straight man into the group, to add the person into the dynamic with the other 4, who is just like, why are we doing that? The flatness of the affect, it's just, there's a lot of fun with her in season 4. There's more in season 5. The girls' trip in season 4. I just love her entire performance in that was great.
I'd pay 200-300 million quatlus for an action figure of Talin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got to get my
man.
Shaxx action figure first. I've got a flow chart of action figure. Look, I want a lot of Lower Decks merch, but
Right? Yeah.
I mean, we got the Cerritos, which is great, but yeah, there needs to be action figures, needs to be a play set. There's a lot that needs to happen. I'm glad
All
we
the
got
things.
Lucy finally.
one
Yeah.
of Cetacean Ops aquarium. I want.
Yes. Yes. Hey, Cherie, we're up against the clock here. Any last thought before we say goodnight?
Let me see.
Oh,
Found
you with
anything.
quotes.
I did want to say. I think you got. I think you. The answer you gave for the Boimler question that I asked is the answer I wanted to hear. So I appreciate that, and it's going to be the right
Yay.
answer as far as I'm concerned, no matter what happens.
Look at that fan service.
That
We're accused of it. This is the proof.
you deliver. There you go. Cherie, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Thanks for coming on the show, Brad.
Oh, thank you.
Brad, just one quick question before we go here. Did you ever find a NorCal burrito in LA that stacks up to your expectation?
Weirdly, there was a place in downtown Burbank. It didn't make it through the pandemic. I know you must be looking at my pinned tweet.
Yeah.
Not a joke. I do want answers.
Yeah.
No, there's no. I found an art. I have not been able to find it since. I found an article years ago that really delved into the burrito culture in Northern California and why it's different from Southern California, and it got into the specifics of which groups from Mexico were coming when and what ingredients they were using. But there is a distinct difference. Northern California, Bay Area burritos, it's the whole kitchen sink.
Nice.
They're like, you're not paying a lot of money. It's as big as your head, and every single thing on earth is inside it. And I haven't found it. I'm always.
All right. I'm intrigued. I'll be in the Bay Area shortly. So
no San Diego nonsense where we're putting French fries inside.
Why hate on the French fry? The surf and turf with the fries?
Our composer Chris Westlake, we get into it. That's his neck of the woods. When people talk about California as a monolith, that's the proof right there. We have we have
definitely. Yeah, there's going to have to be a burrito showdown.
Yeah,
at some point.
Oh,
you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love
just give me carnitas and tortilla, and I'm good.
Yeah.
Have people notice that all the food on the Streetos, most of the time, if you're seeing the meat, it is Mexican food.
Yeah, true. Awesome. Well, hey, Brad, thank you so much for joining us. Norman, it feels good to be back, right?
It really does. I mean, it's great. The energy's great. I think a lot of people just have been missing the interaction, and you can do it here. You can also do it on our Discord and our Patreon. So if you want to do that, please join us. And I'm glad that we're here. I'm glad that people have, the ability to be able to come in, join the chat, share their excitement. It has been a while. I mean, we were on an abnormal break, for some pretty important reasons, but I'm glad that everyone in the chat has come back, and we're going to see a lot more people come closer. We get to, Discovery Season 5.
Yeah, so don't forget, next week, Dr. Trek, Larry Nemechek, talking to us about the state of Trek as it is now. And then the week after that, we will kick things off with Disco Season 5. Cannot wait for those live feedback shows. And with that said, Mission Log Live is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment. Technical production on Mission Log Live is by the indomitable Earl Green. Be sure to visit podcast.roddenberry.com for the latest from Roddenberry Podcasts. If you would like to support Mission Log directly, give us a look at patreon.com/missionlog. Thank you to everyone who joined us live or later, and especially to our guest, Brad Winters. We look forward to seeing you all next week.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.